Hello, and welcome to the Mystical Chaos that is my channel. I am Mac, and if you're new here, thank you so much for joining. Today we are going to be talking about some Bookstagram / Booktok drama that occurred involving quite a big creator. However, it brought up some deeper issues about just things happening in the community in general that I wanted to talk about today. But before we get into all that, if you would consider perhaps subscribing to the channel, or if you're feeling generous, maybe even checking out my Instagram, that would be awesome. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go on. The creator in question with the whole drama that occurred is PB Squamer. He's been a pretty prominent creator for the last few years. I will admit I found him through his Book Boyfriend Hotline, I believe it was. Pretty funny. I thought it was, again, funny. I followed him for a while. I will say I did start to notice that maybe there was a little bit of creator fatigue going on. And to be fair, I'm not going to be deep diving into his content history type of vibes. If you want that kind of video, I did watch a really awesome video by Laura Ray Says, and she talked about his journey as a whole. So if you're looking for something like that, please go ahead and check her out. With that said though, what happened is that he came on and in a very sort of the video came off in very poor taste. There were some issues that I personally had with it. We're going to talk about that after we talk about the issues that it brought up as a whole. He singled out the fact that smaller authors keep reaching out to him. When you say smaller authors, we're typically talking about indie authors. They keep reaching out to him and asking them to review their books in exchange for sending him a book. Because he gets so many of these offers, he has decided to start offering. Now, the video's deleted and all that. If we're going to talk about the video as it was, he was saying that he would offer to listen to their book. There's another issue here. We will get into this, but it has to be audiobook only. There would be a $200 deposit that would get him to listen to the book, take his notes, make a video, and if they ended up liking that video, he would post that one video across all his platforms for an additional $800. Yeah. The reasons that he cited for offering this is that he needs the money. He really can't find anything that he really cares about reading at this time. It's something he's wanted to do for a while, but he felt people would be upset if he did such a thing. And he wasn't wrong. All of that made you cringe a little bit because you are in this book space and you understand how it all came off very badly. Yeah, me too. In fact, I'm here talking about it again because I recorded this video once, but the audio didn't record. So go figure. I'm here talking about it again before going to bed. This is how much it's been on my mind. To be fair, his sort of whole vibe that he came to this video with, in my opinion, is more of a symptom of bigger issues that are going on in the community. I mean, when a space grows as large as the book spaces have grown, even though BookTube's still very much a niche, Bookstagram and Booktok have grown very much beyond, I think, what a lot of people expected when it first got started. Whenever you have that kind of boom, you're always going to have some people who enter the space, maybe not for the reasons that the people who entered the space originally started the space. It kind of not only got me thinking about that, but it also made me wonder, because he is someone who's pretty big in this space. I'm sure he coexists and speaks with other bigger content creators in this space. And I am wondering if this whole getting paid for reviews is a thing, because genuinely reviews are the one thing that I feel it's a little not cool to exchange money for. I also feel like the FTC has a guideline about how exchanging money for positive reviews is not a thing. I could be wrong, but the fact that he came at it in a way where it just seemed like a thing, it kind of just made me go, oh, is this a thing? Is this a thing that happens? Maybe this creator was trying to get into promotional spaces as a book creator. But in that case, you're dealing with brands and people with marketing budgets, not small indie authors that are literally putting their personal finances into this in order to get their book out there. That promotional space of it all, I understand. Exchanging money for reviews, that's where I go, I didn't know that was a thing, and maybe I'm naive, but I feel like that shouldn't be a thing. Another thing that I already touched on, this video that he put out that's now deleted, singled out indie authors, smaller authors. And like I previously mentioned, they are literally the people that are putting their own finances into getting their own books out into the world. Not only are we not willing to even read most of those authors' books anyway, because you need them to be in audiobook form, which those smaller authors, typically, they are not even able to get an audiobook deal because they're smaller authors, and that costs more money, and they've already spent money getting their printed version out into the world. Yeah, it came across really unfortunately because smaller authors are already the target of a lot of different scams and things, and maybe that $1,000 is better spent towards some sort of avenue that will actually guarantee some sort of sales or return on investment that's sustainable or that's lasting. Just a thought. Yeah, the singling out of indie and smaller authors was just also not the move. Again, I can give benefit of the doubt and maybe think that this person was trying to get into promotional deals and those kinds of things. But again, those exist with people that have marketing budgets, and indie authors often don't. The last thing that this kind of brought up, and I touched on it in the beginning, mentioning how whenever spaces grow so big, there are inevitably going to people that come into them that maybe aren't in them for the foundational reasons that everybody else is, or that most of us are. In this case, if you're in any of the book spaces, be it Booktube, Bookstagram, or Booktok, you're here, and as a creator, you're benefiting from the assumption that you are here foundationally because you enjoy reading as a whole. And the way that his video came across and some of the things that he mentioned as to why he's doing what he's doing just really, as a reader, made me go, that's a take, okay? The first thing that kind of made me go, and this is where we get like more into the actual thing that happened. I talked about the greater issues that it made me think about. Now let's talk about like the actual issue of like, maybe this person is not here in this space for the reason that they simply love reading, like a lot of us. Why is it that maybe I'm questioning that now? Listen, I am an audiobook lover. I truly am. I love audiobooks. Probably 90% of the books that I read a year are in audiobook form. Okay? Nothing against an audiobook. However, there are indie authors that I enjoy. There are even classic authors. Like maybe, like, listen, Selby might not be like classic, but well-known books in American literature that don't have audiobooks that I've wanted to read, and I did. I got them on Kindle, and I got Amazon to read them in a robot voice to me. Listen, if you really are a reader through and through, if there is a story and you love audiobooks, and maybe that is pretty much all you have time for, if there is a story that inspires you enough, you'll read it. You'll figure out how. There are even like text-to-speech apps and things that people use to like read the indie books and things if they don't necessarily have it in them to sit down and read the book. The whole excuse for audiobooks, and I'm sorry if I sound callous when I say an excuse, but it kind of felt like it because he's got ADHD and it's really hard for him. Listen, bro, same. I've actually got ADHD, and there are a lot of other book creators and book lovers out there that struggle with the neurodivergent woes of, oh my goodness, I just want to sit down and read this book, and either my ADHD is rampant and I can't do it, or either my autism is being super rigid and I can't do it. And all this to say, eventually somehow we figure out how to read the books, because it is about reading the goddamn books. I understand the preference to audiobooks. Same. For the sake of time and energy, don't get me wrong. If I could just sit and read physical books all day without my brain or life getting in the way, I genuinely would love that life so much. It's not even funny. It'd be like I'm a teenager again in the best way possible. All this to say, yes, very much a preference to audiobooks right now. And I do understand that preference. The aversion to the physical ones is what makes me go, not sure. What also made me go, okay, are we here because we truly love to read? The never-ending TBR is like such a widely relatable situation that to hear someone that we assume is a reader be like, I just have nothing to read. There's nothing that I really want to pick up right now. Look, I can't trust my conscious mind to hold my Storygraph to read pile in it consistently so that when I'm done reading one of my like 5 to 8 books that I read at a time, I can't just like pull it out of my brain. I consult that to read pile. I do that because what I've noticed over the years, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, is that there are books that fall by the wayside. And that never-ending TBR, if you actually do check it, in my experience, I will end up finding something that I really want to read every time. And even if I don't super want to read it because I'm in a reading slump, I still love reading enough that I still want to continue to read. I still read. Even when I'm in a reading slump, I may not read as much. I may not be as excited about what I'm reading, but I still read. And eventually I will find something to read that I really feel is worthwhile. But all this to say, not having something to read has never been a struggle that I've particularly experienced amongst readers in the book space. That could be just me. I don't think it is though, especially because I could genuinely be, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, could genuinely be billions of years old. I could be as old as the earth is and still not have read all of the books and words and texts that I want to read. So again, that raised a little bit of a question for me. Lastly, there was a bit of entitlement that I really felt come across, and I say a little bit, not as if the entire video wasn't very entitled. I'm just saying in regards to this, there was a little bit of entitlement in the sense that the few, if like 1 or 2 reviews that I've ever seen him post, first of all, they never struck me as a majority of his content. They also never struck me as even like a full third of his content. To be charging for this specific thing feels very out of alignment. In addition, there are creators people go to that are actually reviewing. Yes, their opinion is involved, but they're also talking about the text and deeper things, essentially. The 1 or 2 reviews that I've seen from the creator in question here, I'm going to chalk up to like his opinion type reviews. To be fair, those are valid. Those should exist. Absolutely. I don't believe we should be charging, and especially not indie authors, for the reasons I've already mentioned, $1,000 for a this is my opinion type review. I would understand more so charging if you had some sort of reputation for genuinely breaking down text and tropes and whatever else really well. All this to say, raised some questions about the community in general. It raised some questions about this creator. I also learned via Laura Ray Says' video. Again, if you want a deeper dive into this creator, including what happened, and you want to see the actual video, go ahead and check her video out. It is rather long, but it's completely worth it. I did learn via her video that he is the creator that Nevessa Allen was speaking out about, that was signing her books without her permission. Now, if you're a reader and you've asked someone to sign someone's book that had nothing to do with getting that book out into the world, just know that it is a disrespectful practice, and author is probably not going to appreciate that. And it's okay if as a reader you didn't know. From now on you know, and you do better. That's all you can do. All this to say though, like Nevessa made it clear that she did not like that, him signing the Lights Out books, and he continued to do it anyway. That's not really great. There's this thing that happened, and then there's that kind of made me go, and I didn't really feel like following him anymore. The whole thing to me is genuinely a symptom of bigger issues. I hope I've covered the things that it got me thinking a lot about pretty well, and I hope I've also made it clear as to why I'm questioning if this creator should really be benefiting from the assumption that, hey, you're here because you love stories and you love books just like the rest of us. And I think that going forward, I know I'm going to be a lot more discerning because, again, when a community gets really big, when especially a social media space gets really big, people come, and sometimes they weren't necessarily here to begin with for the correct reasons. And I do believe that those things will always come to light. In this case, it's to be determined. Regardless, thank you for joining me today. This is my first time talking about actual bookstagram, Booktok stuff. Typically, I've just talked about books. So thank you for being here. If you have made it this far, let me know what you're reading right now. I just want to see how many of y'all actually made it here, but also give me some book recs. I love some book recs because my never-ending TBR is always open. And that might be a problem, but I don't feel like it is. So give them to me. And thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed your time, please consider liking the video, maybe even subscribing to the channel. And if you're feeling extra generous, please consider hyping the video. I do have my Wheel of Time video coming for y'all, but things just keep happening, and I'm excited that I'm back into the creation groove. So thank you. I'm going to go to bed. See you next time. Bye.